Hare Krishna. So I will begin by singing the Mangalacharna prayers and leading a short kirtan, and then we will speak about the teachings of Lord Caitanya. Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namah Vishnu Padaya Kṛṣṇa Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Kṛṣṇa Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesatarine Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Srila Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sutta Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sutta Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Hare Krishna. I would like to request all the participants on Zoom to turn on your cameras so we can see your moon-like faces. Hi, thank you. So we are speaking on the teachings of Lord Caitanya, which Srila Prabhupada has called a treatise of factual spiritual life. That's such a grave and authoritative description, not vague or sentimental. Teachings of Lord Caitanya is based on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it specifically consists of 5 conversations. First, between Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami, then between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami, then between Lord Chaitanya and Prakashananda Saraswati, then between Lord Chaitanya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and then between Lord Chaitanya and Sri Ramananda Rai. And the section that we will be discussing today is from Lord Chaitanya's discussion with Srila Sanatana Goswami. So chapter 47 and, chapter 7 and 8 are quite technical descriptions of different categories of incarnations of Kṛṣṇa with different technical names to describe these different categories. And sometimes the differences between the different categories is quite small, you could say. So we won't discuss those two chapters, but we will discuss chapter 8, which is called the Avatāras. And I will read and comment. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Lord Chaitanya continued to explain to Sanatana Goswami that the expansions of Lord Kṛṣṇa who come into the material creation are called avatars or incarnations. The word avatar means one who descends, and in this case, the word specifically refers to one who descends from the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and from these planets, the expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead come into this universe. So the word avatar has become quite popular these days, not always with the meaning that it had originally, but the actual meaning is one who descends. And there's a special category called Shakti-avesh avatar. And Shakti means power, and Avesh means to be imbued with. So a Shakti-avesh avatar is an empowered incarnation. And Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, gave his opinion that Jesus Christ was a Shakti-avesh avatar. So just as in the material sky, there are so many planets, so beyond all the material universes is the spiritual sky, which has many spiritual planets, innumerable spiritual planets, the topmost of which is Goloka Vrindavan, the supreme abode of Lord Kṛṣṇa. The first descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the expansion of Shankarshan is the Purusha incarnation Mahavishnu. It is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 131 that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends as the first Purusha incarnation of the material creation, he immediately manifests 16 elementary energies. Known as the Mahavishnu, he lies within the causal ocean, and it is he who is the original incarnation of the material world. He is the Lord of time, nature, cause and effect, mind, ego, the five elements, the three modes of nature, the senses, and the universal form. Although he is the master of all objects, movable and immovable in the material world, he is totally independent. So every religion will say that God is the creator, that God is great and he is the creator. But as Srila Prabhupada says, they don't know how great God is, nor do they know how he creates. So here in the teachings of Lord Caitanya, with reference to Srimad Bhagavatam, we get a sense of how great God is and how he creates scientifically. What is the process by which he creates? The second Vishnu incarnation, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, enters each and every universe, spreads water from his body, and lies down on that water. From his navel, the stem of a lotus flower grows, and on that lotus flower, the first creature, Brahma, is born. Within the stem of the lotus flower are 14 divisions of planetary systems, which are created by Brahma. Within each universe, the Lord is present as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he maintains each universe and tends to its needs. Although he is within each material universe, the influence of the material energy cannot touch him. When it is required, this very same Vishnu takes the form of Lord Shiva and annihilates the cosmic creation. The three secondary incarnations, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are the predominating deities of the three modes of material nature. The master of the universe, however, is the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is worshipped as the Hiranyagarbha Supersoul. The Vedic hymns describe him as having thousands of heads. Although he is within the material nature, he is not touched by it. This is very deep and profound and clear knowledge of the primeval lords who in different ways are the super souls of the universe and of the living entities. The third incarnation of Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, is also an incarnation of the mode of goodness. He is also the super soul of all living entities, and he resides on the ocean of milk within the universe. Thus Caitanya Mahaprabhu described the Purusha Avatāras. So again, there are three Purusha Avatāras. These are the primeval lords. Mahavishnu or Karna Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Lord Caitanya next describes the Leela avatars, or pastime avatars. And of these, the Lord points out that there is no limit. However, he describes some of them. For example, Matsya, Kurma, Raghunath, that means Lord Ramachandra, Nrsimha, Vamana, and Varaha. As far as the guna avatars, or qualitative incarnations of Vishnu, they are three: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is one of the living entities, but due to his devotional service, he is very powerful. This primal living entity, master of the mode of material passion, is directly empowered by Garbhodaksha Vishnu to create innumerable living entities. Of course, the living entities themselves, the jivas, are eternal. They're never, eternal means they have no beginning and no end. So they're not created as such. But Lord Brahma creates their bodies, which enables them to function in the material world and attempt to fulfill their desires. And that's us. So Lord Brahma, master of the material mode of passion, is directly empowered by the Garbhodaksha Vishnu to create innumerable living entities. In Brahma Samhita 549, Brahma is likened to valuable jewels influenced by the rays of the sun, and the sun is likened to the Supreme Lord, Garbhodaksha Vishnu. If in some kalpa, that's a long period of time, there is no suitable living entity capable of acting in Brahma's capacity, Garbhodaksha Vishnu himself manifests as Brahma and acts accordingly. Similarly, by expanding himself as Lord Shiva, the Supreme Lord is engaged when there is need to annihilate the universe. Lord Shiva, in association with Maya, has many forms, which are generally numbered as 11 Rudras. Lord Shiva is not one of the living entities. He is more or less Kṛṣṇa himself. The example of milk and yogurt is often given in this regard. Yogurt is a preparation of milk, but still yogurt cannot be used as milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is an expansion of Kṛṣṇa, but he cannot act as Kṛṣṇa, nor can we derive the spiritual restoration from Lord Shiva that we derive from Kṛṣṇa. The essential difference is that Lord Shiva has a connection with material nature, but Vishnu, or Lord Kṛṣṇa, has nothing to do with material nature. Srimad Bhagavatam 1088.3 states that Lord Shiva is a combination of three kinds of transformed consciousness, known as Vaikarika, Taijasa, and Tamasa. So, yes, Lord Shiva is compared to yogurt, and Lord Vishnu is compared to milk. And yogurt is derived from milk, but yogurt cannot be turned back into milk. So Lord Shiva, in a way, is a transformation of Lord Vishnu, but he is not the same as Lord Vishnu, and he cannot become Lord Vishnu. And one of the adjectives used to describe Lord Shiva is Asutosh, which means that he is very easily pleased. Lord Shiva, he gives benedictions without much consideration. And therefore, sometimes his worshipers who receive benedictions from him misuse the benedictions for bad purposes. One example is Ravana, who was a devotee of Lord Shiva. And sometimes Lord Kṛṣṇa even cautioned Lord Shiva that he should be careful about the kinds of benedictions he gives and to whom he gives them. Because often demons are worshippers of Lord Shiva who misuse his benedictions. The Vishnu incarnation, although master of the modes of goodness within each universe, is in no way in touch with the influence of material nature. Although Vishnu is equal to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa is the original source. Vishnu is a part, but Kṛṣṇa is the whole. This is the version given by Vedic literatures. In Brahma Samhita, the example is given of an original candle, which lights a second candle. Although both candles are of equal power, one is accepted as the original, and the other is said to be kindled from the original. The Vishnu expansion is like the second candle. He is as powerful as Kṛṣṇa, but the original Vishnu is Kṛṣṇa. Brahma and Lord Shiva are obedient servants of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord as Vishnu is an expansion of Kṛṣṇa. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Kṛṣṇa says, Aham Adi Hirdevanam, that I am the origin of the Devas. And Srila Prabhupada explained that the Devas generally are taken to mean Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So by Lord Kṛṣṇa saying Aham Adi Devanam, he's saying he is the origin of Brahma, Shiva, and even Lord Vishnu. After describing the Manu incarnations, Lord Caitanya explained the Yuga Avatāras. To whom is Lord Caitanya speaking now? My dear devotees, if you know the answer, please raise your hand. Vrinda Priya Devidasi.
Is Lord Chaitanya speaking to Sanatana Goswami now?
Yes, yes, exactly. After describing the Manu incarnations, Lord Caitanya explained the Yuga avatars to Sanatana Goswami. There are 4 yugas or millennia: Satya, Tretya, Dwapara, and Kali. And in each millennium, the Supreme Lord incarnates, and each incarnation has a different color according to the yuga. So yes, there are 4 ages, and they repeat in cycles, just like the 4 seasons. In Satya Yuga, the color of the principal incarnation is white. In the Tretya Yuga, the color is red. In the Dwapara Yuga, the color is blackish, Kṛṣṇa. And in the Kali Yuga, the color of the principal incarnation is yellow. And who might that be? Adi Gadadhar Das.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, correct. And in the Kali Yuga, the color of the principal incarnation is yellow, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-13 by the astrologer Gargamuni, who calculated Krishna's horoscope in the house of Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, invited Gargamuni, who was the priest of the Yadus, to do Krishna's horoscope. And he said that Krishna will give protection to his devotees, just like Lord Narayan. And he also said that Krishna appears in different colors in different ages. And he said that he mentions the different colors, Gargamuni, but he doesn't say which color is in which age. But by process of elimination, we know the colors in Sattva Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. And by process of elimination, the only color left for Kali Yuga is the yellow color or golden color. In the Satya Yuga, the process of self-realization was meditation. And this process is taught by the white incarnation of God. This incarnation gave a benediction to the sage Kardama, by which he could have an incarnation of the personality of Godhead as his son. And who was that? Devahuti Devidasi, you should know the answer. Who is?
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's Lord Kapil Dev.
Yes, yes. In fact, Srila Prabhupada spent an extended period of time in Bombay when we were struggling to get the permission to build the temple. And he was speaking on the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said that those lectures should be collected and published as a book, which they were, called The Teachings of Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti. In the Satya Yuga, everyone meditated on Krishna, and each and every living entity was full in knowledge. In this present age, Kali Yuga, people who are not in full knowledge are still attempting this meditative process, which was recommended for a previous age. In other words, in a very subtle and tactful way, Srila Prabhupada is saying that the people who try to meditate in Kali Yuga are misled. They're misled. It's you cannot meditate in Kali Yuga as one could in Satya Yuga. In the present age, Kali Yuga, people who are not in full knowledge are still attempting this meditative process, which was recommended for a previous age. The process for self-realization recommended in the Treta millennium was the performance of sacrifice. And this was taught by the red incarnation of God. In the Dwapara millennium, Kṛṣṇa was personally present, and he was worshipped by everyone by the mantra, Namaste Vasudevaya, Namah Shankarshanaya, Pradumyaya Anirudaya, Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradumya, and Aniruddha. This was the process of self-realization for the Dwapara age. In the next millennium, the present age of Kali Yuga, the Lord incarnates to preach the chanting of the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. In this age, the Lord is yellow, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he teaches people love of God by chanting the names of Kṛṣṇa. This teaching is carried out personally by Kṛṣṇa, and he exhibits love of Godhead by chanting, singing, and dancing with thousands of people following him. This particular incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is foretold in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. In the age of Kali, the Lord incarnates as a devotee, yellowish in color, and is always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Although he is Krishna, his complexion is not blackish like Krishna's in Dwapara Yuga, but is golden. It is in Kali Yuga that the Lord engages in preaching love of Godhead through the Sankirtan movement, and those living entities who are intelligent adopt this process of self-realization. So this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, is very significant. The first word is Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa means Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of God. And it can also mean blackish. And Varna can mean category. Like we have the four Varnas, the four categories. And Varna can also mean to describe or glorify. So just this compound, Kṛṣṇa Varnam, it has two meanings, that this incarnation is in the same category as Kṛṣṇa, and he is always engaged in describing or glorifying Kṛṣṇa. But then the next word, Tvisa Krishnam. Tvisa means color or complexion. Kṛṣṇa means black, and means not. So he's not blackish. Kṛṣṇa Varnam Tvisa Krishnam, not blackish in color. Sangha, that means Sangha, associates, associated with, accompanied by. Sango Pangastra Parshadam. His associates are his astras, his weapons. And Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar, Sankirtan Yagya, he will be worshipped by Sankirtan Yagya by who? By those who are Sumedasa. Sumedasa means very intelligent. There's another word, Alpha Medasa, which means less intelligent. And the Bhagavad Gita describes those who worship the demigods as Alpha Medasa. But those who worship Lord Chaitanya by performance of Sankirtan are Sumedasa, very intelligent. So all of you are very intelligent. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. If anyone tries to say anything otherwise, you hold up the book and say, look, I'm Sumedasa. I'm very intelligent because I'm worshiping Lord Chaitanya with Sankirtan. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.52, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam Yajato Makai Dvapare Paricharyayam Kalota Dari Kirtana. The self-realization that was achieved in the Satya millennium by meditation, in the Treta Yuga by the performance of different sacrifices, and in the Dwapara millennium by worship of Lord Kṛṣṇa, can be achieved in the age of Kali simply by chanting the holy names Hare Kṛṣṇa. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also confirmed in the Vishnu Purana, 6.2.17, where it is stated, Dhyayan Kriteya Jan Yagyais Tretayam Dwaparer Chayam Yarapnoti Tarapnoti Kalo Sankirtanya Keshavam. In this age, there is no use in meditation, sacrifice, or temple worship. Simply by chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one can achieve perfect self-realization. When Lord Chaitanya described the incarnation for this age of Kali, Sanatana Goswami, who had been a government minister and was perfectly capable of drawing conclusions, directly asked the Lord, how can one understand the advent of an incarnation? So this was a very delicate situation because Lord Chaitanya was hiding his identity as an incarnation. But when he was describing the Yuga avatars to Sanatana Goswami, who was very intelligent, Sanatana Goswami probed a little to see if he could get Lord Chaitanya to concede that he, in fact, was the incarnation for Kali Yuga. Sanatana Goswami, who had been a government minister and was perfectly capable of drawing conclusions, directly asked the Lord, how can one understand the advent of an incarnation? By the description of the incarnation for the Kali millennium, Sanatana Goswami could understand that Lord Chaitanya was indeed that incarnation of Kṛṣṇa. And he could also understand that in the future, there would be many people who would try to imitate Lord Chaitanya because the Lord played as an ordinary Brahmin, despite the fact that his devotees accepted him as an incarnation. And actually, it's true, there are some false incarnations of Lord Chaitanya, current, or I don't know if they're still alive, but at least in very recent times, there were false incarnations of Lord Chaitanya. Since Sanatana Goswami knew that there would be many pretenders, he asked the Lord, how can one understand the symptoms of an incarnation? As one can understand the incarnation of the different incarnations for different millenniums by referring to the Vedic literatures, the Lord replied, one can similarly understand who is actually the incarnation of Godhead in this age of Kali. In this way, the Lord especially stressed reference to authoritative scriptures. In other words, one should not whimsically accept a person as an incarnation, but should try to understand the characteristics of an incarnation by referring to scriptures. An incarnation of the Supreme Lord never declares himself to be an incarnation, but his followers must ascertain who is an incarnation and who is a pretender by referring to authoritative scriptures. Any intelligent person can understand the characteristics of an avatar by understanding two features. The principal feature called personality and the marginal features. And in Sanskrit, there's like tatastha characteristics, which means marginal. It means that they're manifest sometimes and not manifest at other times. And the other characteristic is swarup, which means it's of the nature of the incarnation and is always existing. Oh yeah, it's right here. In the scriptures, there are descriptions of the characteristics of the bodies and the activities of an incarnation. And the description of the body is the principal feature. That doesn't change. Like Lord Chaitanya is always golden complexion. By which the incarnation could be identified. The activities of the incarnation are the marginal characteristics. For example, spreading the Sankirtan movement. Well, when Lord Chaitanya was a baby, he wasn't, well, except very indirectly by crying. And when the ladies would try to get him to stop crying, the only thing that would work was if they chanted. But other than something like that, we can't say that he always manifested the activity of spreading the Sankirtan movement. So that's a marginal characteristic. It's sometimes visible and sometimes not. This is confirmed in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, where the features of an avatar are nicely described. In that verse, the two terms param and satyam are used, and Lord Chaitanya indicates that these words reveal Krishna's principal feature. The other marginal features indicate that he taught the Vedic knowledge to Brahma and incarnated as the Purusha avatar to create the cosmic manifestation. These are occasional features, manifest for some specific purpose. One should be able to understand and distinguish the principal and marginal features of an avatar. No one can declare himself an incarnation without referring to these two features. An intelligent man will not accept anyone as an avatar without studying the principal and marginal features. When Sanatana Goswami tried to confirm Lord Chaitanya's personal characteristics as being those of the incarnation of this age, Lord Caitanya himself indirectly made the confirmation by simply saying, "Let us leave aside all these discussions and continue with the description of the Shaktivesh avatars." So when Srila Sanatana Goswami presented the idea that Lord Chaitanya was the Yuga avatar for Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya indirectly agreed by changing the subject. If he wasn't, he would have flatly said, "No, I'm not." But he didn't. He said, "All right, enough of this discussion. Now let's discuss the Shaktivesh avatars." So I think we've used our allotted time, but I'll just say on the there are different categories of Shaktivesh avatars. As I mentioned, Shaktivesh avatar means empowered incarnation. And many learned scholars, they accept Srila Prabhupada as a Shaktivesh avatar. And Srila Prabhupada's learned godbrother, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhardev Goswami Maharaj, he raised a further question: whose Shakti? By whose Shakti was Srila Prabhupada empowered? And he gave his opinion that he was empowered by the Shakti of Nityananda Prabhu, which makes sense. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya ki jai. So, if we have time, we can take questions and comments.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the wonderful read-through of the chapter. It was a very nice experience, a different experience from what we're used to, we're reading through along with you. So we do have a few minutes for questions. Probably we have around 10 minutes. So devotees who have questions can either raise their hands or put their questions in the chat, and we can take it from there. Hare Krishna.
Again, please turn on your cameras if you can.
So I think we have a question from Shrikant Prabhu. He's just unmuted. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful description of today's lecture. In today's conversation, you mentioned about chanting Hare Krishna mantra as the mean to gain an understanding of self-realization. So I was curious to get your perspective on what exactly is self-realization and your thoughts on that one.
Yes. Well, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of when the sun rises, you can see yourself and you can also see everything else. So when you realize who you are, you simultaneously realize your relationship with everything else, which includes first and foremost your relationship with Kṛṣṇa, that you are the eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa. Jiver Swarupai Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. So real self-realization means that, to realize you're the eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa. And Srimad Bhagavatam defines mukti, or liberation. Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavastitaha. Mukti means when you give up all other false identities and become established in your Swarup, which is eternal servant of Krishna. Jivar Swarupaya Krishna Nitidas. And but we are servants of the servant of the servants of the servants of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya also said that. I'm not a Brahmin, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Sudra, I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm not a Grihastha, I'm not a Vanaprastha, I'm not a sannyasi. Then what are you? Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. So real self-realization is to realize that you're the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I think we have a question from Dilip Prabhu. Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam, all Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you Maharaj for very wonderful class. Maharaj, I had a couple of questions. As you mentioned, Shivji is dealing with the material energy. I wanted to understand what it means. And Lord Vishnu is not dealing with the material energy. Means if I understand how Shivji is dealing, then it will help us how Lord Vishnu is not. Because what I thought, any incarnation of Lord is aloof from any material energy. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that's true. But Lord Shiva is not directly the Lord. And he does have some relationship with the material energy. And you can understand that because his consort is Parvati or Durga, and she's the material energy. So that is the difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, who has no contact with the material energy. But I can't see fully, but it seems that your t-shirt has the same Sri Radha. Oh, no, it doesn't. It has Hare Krishna. Well, that's good. That's good. Sometimes those circles have Sri Radha in the middle. Okay, nice. Thank you. Any other question or comment? Another one?
Yeah, I think Dilip Prabhu has another question.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, it will always help us for chanting. Just I wanted to ask, how can I improve my chanting, which is what improve means sincerely and meditating on Lord's name.
Yeah, that's a very important question. How can you improve your chanting? The main idea is to hear, of course, first properly articulate and then attentively hear the holy names. And to help you in that effort, it's good to rise early and chant during Brahma Muhurta before sunrise. Of course, you can chant at any time, but in general, spiritual practices are more effective during the early hours of Brahma Muhurta. And as Srila Prabhupada established the morning program in his temples, we begin with Mangalarti at 4:30, and then after Mangalarti, we chant japa, and at least some of that japa time is is before sunrise. And then chant in front of Tulsi Devi, chant in front of deities, chant with other devotees who are sincere about chanting and serious about chanting. And don't do anything else. My godbrother Mahatma Prabhu used to joke that devotees become very expert at using their left hand, because while they have their right hand in the bead bag, they can do so many other things with their left hand. So not like that. We want to be fully engaged in chanting japa and not try to multitask when we're doing japa. Yeah. And pray. Always pray. Pray for help. Hare Krishna.
So I think we have one question from Manjari Pal Mataji. You can unmute yourself, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Am I audible? Guru Maharaj,
Yeah.
I'm Nitya Sakhi. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and all worship Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I have a question that during Shivratri over here, many of them keep fast, thinking he's a highest Vaishnava. So is it right?
Well, I mean, there's no harm in fasting, but generally we Vaishnavas, we don't observe Shivaratri. It's true, it is said in the Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanyam Yata Shambhu, that Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. So we do respect him as the greatest Vaishnava. But generally we don't observe Shivaratri.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We have one more question from Malati Mataji. You're on mute, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj. I just wanted to know that actually it's very difficult to understand the process of creation and the incarnations, how many manus, there are so many figures involved in it. So how important is it to know everything very deeply, or is it okay that you know little, like on the it's fine to know a little bit, because I have read it and I couldn't understand anything. It was just very difficult for me to understand. So how important it is to know this very deeply, or it's fine for us to know just a little bit?
Well, Srila Prabhupada said that we should know a little about everything and a lot about one thing. And the one thing is Krishna consciousness. So
Okay.
if you know a lot about Krishna consciousness, maybe not all these details, something about these details, but if you know a lot about Krishna consciousness, the three categories, sambandha, sambandha gyan, knowing who you are and your relationship with Krishna, abhideya, acting in that relationship by devotional service, and prayojana, the ultimate goal or necessity, which is love for Krishna, then you're fine.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Arash, can we just take one more question?
Sure.
So we have Nivedita Mataji who has her hand up. Please unmute yourself, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you Maharaj for the wonderful lecture. I have a question regarding chanting, Maharaj, that when we strictly follow our morning schedule, like chanting in Brahm Muhurat and then doing Aarti and following like Tulsi Puja, everything, and then sometimes we develop some kind of pride inside. So what is the way to chant still being in the humble mood and strictly follow the morning program?
Yes. Well, when you feel proud, you should immediately realize how fallen you are, and then you'll naturally feel humble. And it's very dangerous to be proud because that is, as it is said, pride cometh before a fall. We don't want to be proud. In fact, being proud itself indicates that we're in the bodily concept of life. And if we're in the bodily concept of life, our position is quite low. So how can you maintain your pride when you're so fallen? But I'm not saying you're fallen. I'm sure you're a good devotee. But I'm just giving this as a way you can understand things so that you don't become proud.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that you become humble. Yeah, Burijan Prabhu, he stresses in relation to japa, just hear one mantra. You can't do anything about the last one, and you can't do anything about the next one until you come to it. So just focus on one mantra at a time, and even one name at a time.
Mhm.
And then he says, when you see how hard it is just to hear one mantra, every single word of just one mantra, that should make you humble.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is just a small child from our yatra. I think could be nice to hear a child if you have the time.
Yes, I have.
Garima, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Tanwar Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I really loved your class. I chant 10 rounds every day, but how do I chant in a prayerful mood and a humble mood?
Okay. Do you have first of all, what is your age?
8.
8. Nice. When Krishna was 8, he lifted Govardhan Hill, but that was Krishna. So do you chant any fixed number of rounds every day, any minimum, like 1 round or two rounds?
I chant 10 rounds every day.
Wow. That's nice. That's good. So, and under what circumstances do you chant your rounds? I mean, they might not all be at the same time or in the same place, but when and how do you chant most of your rounds?
I chant in the morning mostly.
Good. And so while you're chanting, you try to hear. And so you wanted to increase your humility and prayerfulness. That was your question?
Yes.
Well, we've been discussing humility, but yeah. So Srila Prabhupada says that the chanting itself is a prayer, because we're calling on the names of Hare, that means Radhe, and Kṛṣṇa. So we're calling their names. And when you call someone's name and they ask, what do you want? So what will you say? So, I mean, yes?
I would say that, like, how to come back to Golok.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, Srila Prabhupada said that the chanting, we're praying for service. I mean, why do you want to go back to Goloka? Of course, life is good there, but you want to serve Krishna. That's what you will do in Goloka, to serve Radha and Krishna. So when you're calling the names of Radha and Krishna, when you chant, and they ask, yes, you called us, what do you want? So your answer will be, please engage me in your service. And, but that's also good to want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. Why do you want to go to Goloka Vrindavan?
To serve Radha and Krishna.
Yes. So it comes to the same thing. Beautiful.
Thank you, Maharaj. I really understood it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for very kindly overseeing this session and enlightening us with so many different facts about the Avatāras. It was really eye-opening. We have our temple president, His Grace Vedasara Prabhu. I'm sure he might want to probably say something to you as well. So I'll hand it over to him now.
Okay.
Vedasara Prabhu.
Marge, it is so nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel very honored and privileged on behalf of the whole congregation that you're so kind to give us your association.
It was a pleasure.
I hope there will be many more, Marge, and I really look forward to your personal association at some point soon, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome anytime.
I get updates from Ritatvaja Marge quite often.
Yeah, whenever I see you, I think of him.
Yeah. Whenever he talks to me, I ask him about you, Marge.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for this beautiful. I was having difficulty getting online. So finally, somehow the internet was down. So I caught the middle portion of it. So I'm just so grateful, Marge. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right.
Did you introduce Marge?
Yes, Prabhu. So I also have an announcement regarding his book. So probably Adhikata Prabhu also wanted to say something. So probably I just have a slide regarding information on Maharaj's new book as well. So I'll just be putting that on the screen right away. So maybe even Maharaj can say a few words about his book, and then I have a slide here, Maharaj.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, yeah, this is the book. It is 800 pages of text and 40 pages of color photos. And it has been printed in India. And of course, many of our participants today are in India, and some of them even have the book. Malati Dasi definitely has the book. And for people like us in America, the books will be coming by ship to Los Angeles. And, the BBTLA will have a number of copies. I will have a number of copies. ISV, by Sheshika Prabhu, he'll have a number of copies which he'll be distributing. And yeah, it was definitely a labor of love. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I think whoever reads it will get a good sense of Srila Prabhupada and who he is and what he did. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Adhikata Prabhu, do you have anything to add?
Hare Krishna, dear Giriraj Maharaj, my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, we are so happy and grateful that you again gave us your association. You had given a lecture for ISKCON Atlanta during the Janmashtami series that we did. And now again, you are giving us your association, and we are so very grateful to you. It was a very, very enlightening session. And you explain it so nicely that even less intelligent people like me can understand. So very, very grateful to you, Maharaj. And I have been looking on Amazon to get this book since the day it was launched, but it's not showing up. So now I understand the books are being shipped from India.
Yeah.
So what would be the best way to order these books, Maharaj?
Well, at the juhustory.com, I think you can pre-order.
Okay,
but
yes.
Otherwise, yeah, when the books come, so you can get them.
So just pre-order it, the juhustory.com website.
Yeah, I think that's, you'll get on the list, and then depending on where you are, you'll be supplied the books when they come to that region.
Okay, Maharaj, we'll do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, and we look forward to more of your association in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add, can you all hear me?
Yes.
I just want to add that I've been hearing about this book for some time, and how inspiring it is to see Srila Prabhupada's commitment and dedication for this Juhu project, and how deeply involved with his full heart, His Holiness Giriraja Swami Maharaj, so closely helping Srila Prabhupada, and just tirelessly trying to invite Radha Rasbihari to Juhu. I've heard it from so many Maharajas. I get little snippets of this book. It's just now coming. And I'm just so happy that it is here now, Maharaj. So I highly recommend all the devotees to please really, really get a glimpse of Srila Prabhupada, and from someone who's directly been involved in this beautiful pursuit of building this beautiful temple for Radha Rasbihari, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, who just put whole heart into this beautiful project. So thank you, Maharaj, for writing this book. I am definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
This was an advance copy, but the shipment will be coming in a month or so, whenever the boat arrives in LA.
So for those of you who haven't heard, again, I have the website up on the slide here. The website is thejuhustory.com. I'll repeat, thejuhustory.com is the website where you can pre-order your books. And please get a glimpse. Those of you who have had a chance to read the Prabhupada Leelamrita must have gone across that section where the Mumbai temple was built. It's a very riveting story. And I actually went to the website, and I think there was a quote where Maharaj has mentioned how Prabhupada said that if you write a book about this the building of this temple, it would just be a gripping read. So I encourage everyone to pre-order the book and have an understanding of how they built this amazing temple. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Once again, we thank you from ISKCON Atlanta for taking out your time. I think it's around 2 hours you've been here. So we thank you very much for your time and your association. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Well, if we're going to end now, then I suggest we do Vaishnava Pranam.
Yes, ma'am. So usually we just have like a couple of announcements and then we end with Nrsimha prayers.
That's good.
If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll stay.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. So moving on to the announcements. So next week we have His Grace Shastrakrit Prabhu who will be giving the session, and he will be covering some topics. Probably we'll have to move some topics from this week as well onto the next week and connect it over. So please join in. We will be moving back to our regular time of 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and you will be getting all the updates on our WhatsApp group and Facebook page as well. We'll also have Maharaj's class up on YouTube. We will be posting the link on the WhatsApp groups and Facebook again for that. We encourage everyone to go and subscribe to our channel as well. That would be very useful if you like, share, and subscribe. Then the festivals for this week are on 2nd February, we have Srila Jayadev Goswami's Disappearance Day. On 5th February, we have Sri Lochan Das Thakur's Disappearance Day. On 7th February, we have Sattila Ekadashi, and which is fasting, obviously. And 8th February is the fast breaking for the Ekadashi. I will update the time. I think it's not correct, but probably next Sunday, I will put up the correct time as well. Also, prayers. We recently heard that Jayaptak Maharaj tested negative for COVID-19. So we continue to pray for his recovery. Sikhi Mahiti Prabhu is also tested negative for COVID-19. So we're very thankful. He's the co-president of our temple. His wife, Govardhan Leela Mataji, is awaiting results. Paramesh Prabhu, who recently left his body. Kalpa Prabhu, Gaurang Giridhari Prabhu, who are devotees at the temple serving very dedicatedly. All the doctors who are fighting COVID-19, including Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, who was here, and also many others who have been affected by this COVID virus. We pray for all of them very sincerely. And today we have Garima, who will be singing the Nrsimha prayers. So Garima, over to you.
All bless you, Srila Prabhupada, and all bless to Giriraja Maharaj, and all bless to the assembled devotees, and all bless to Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste. Hare
जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय गौड़ प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल।
Maharaj, did you want to close out with Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, if I was
Yeah.
not wrong?
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj, you can lead us, Maharaj.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you very much,